Could Wakanda, the home nation of the Black Panther, be more advanced than the United States? Well, Super Friends, there's a strong possibility that the answer is yes. Hi, I'm Jason Inman. With Black Panther slicing box office records across the world, I wanted to do a deep dive into King T'Challa's homeland of Wakanda. Now, it first appeared in Fantastic Four number 52 in July of 1966 and was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the comic book kings. Now, Wakanda is renowned throughout the Marvel Comics universe for not only being the home to the superhero Black Panther, but for being incredibly technologically advanced. The movie did a great job touching on this. His sister Shuri shows up, showing us plenty of technological advancements, so many that it might make Tony Stark's head spin. But first, before we can talk about the technology of Wakanda, we have to talk about the people of Wakanda. We all know that a vibranium meteor crashed into Wakanda in ancient times, and this irreparably changed their society forever. Now you have to stop and think about this for a second. What does it mean for an entire nation of people to live, have babies, and die on top of the Marvel Universe's most precious metal? In 2010's Fall of the Hulk storyline written by Jeff Loeb and Greg Pak, the villain MODOK says that the Wakandan people's genes were altered due to exposure to vibranium and that this has given them some unique abilities. During the same storyline, a villain called the Intelligentsia, who is depicted as being one of the smartest villains in the Marvel Comics universe, attempts to sneak into Wakanda, and an old Wakandan man is able to spot the Intelligentsia from a great distance and raise the alarm. Now, this might not seem as super heroic as being a super soldier or a Hulk or embiggening, but elderly people have been known to have deteriorating sight and hearing loss. Now, I don't mean that as an insult to all our elderly viewers. Hello, hi Grandpa. But let's just say that maybe the vibranium has helped to enhance this elderly Wakandan senior citizen. Now, also the heart-shaped herb that helps to give the Black Panther his great strength and agility and also provides a portal to the spirit world benefits from the vibranium along with the Wakandan people. The vibranium radiation has also permeated much of Wakanda's flora and fauna, including the heart-shaped herb eaten by members of the Black Panther cult and the flesh of the white gorilla eaten by the members of the white gorilla cult. They both give superhuman abilities to whoever eats them, and there's a possibility that some of that is influenced by the vibranium. Now let's look at some points of real-world history that might explain why Wakanda is able to outshine the rest of the world when it comes to technology. First off, Wakanda was not affected by the Dark Ages. If you don't know what that is, it's also called the Earth Middle Ages from the 6th to the 10th century, and it's called the Dark Ages due to the lack in artistic or technological advancements made at this time. Human development basically stalled for a few centuries. Now, there are many science fiction books, movies, and all kinds of television shows that postulate the idea that humanity would be in space right now if it wasn't for the Dark Ages. Another reason why the Middle Ages are often called the Dark Ages is because when they're compared to other historical eras, historians don't actually know that much about this time. So in some ways, this period of time has been completely lost to history. A lot of important records haven't survived, and basic birth records have not even been found from this period. Now, the Dark Ages almost exclusively affected the European continent and their colonies, and since Wakanda was never colonized, it is not subject to the same historical highs and lows as many countries in the world, meaning that Wakanda already has a little bit of a head start. This makes it theoretically possible for Wakanda to have enjoyed more renaissances than Dark Ages over the millennia. And if their advancement wasn't halted for this period of time, then that means that Wakanda is at least 4 centuries ahead of every other nation in the world. You also have to take into fact that since Wakanda was never colonized by Europeans and their development was never intentionally stunted like so many real-life 5 African countries, Wakanda is sort of the opposite of North Korea. Now don't leave the video, this explanation is actually going to make sense. In the case of North Korea, isolationism that has been caused by the Korean War has sort of led to a weirdly isolationist, technologically and socially inhibited, shut-in nation. Now, Wakandans have valued research, technology, and development, and they have funded these ventures accordingly. And this shut-in approach for Wakanda actually gives it an opposite North Korea effect. So instead of becoming shut off and isolationist for the detriment of Wakanda, it has actually been shut off and isolationist for the improvement of Wakanda. Now it's enough of this real world science jumbo mumbo, okay? Let's talk about some comic book history of Wakanda to support why Wakanda is technologically advanced more than maybe the United States. So let's talk about Azuri the Wise, who was the father of King T'Chaka and grandfather to T'Challa and Shuri. He was the king of Wakanda when Captain America first showed up during the Second World War. This was in a story called Flags of Our Fathers. It was written by Reginald Hudlin. You can also check it out in the link below in the description. Pick up a copy for yourself. Now, in this story, Nazis wanted the vibranium to develop an intercontinental missile, so they dispatch a platoon to Wakanda. One Nazi makes it out alive and tells a story to the Howling Commandos, and Cap and the Commandos head to Wakanda for the aftermath. Azuri confronts them as the Black Panther, and Cap demands that he picks a side. Not liking the confrontation, the two fight before realizing that they actually share a common enemy, the Nazis. So no vibranium is given to the Nazis, and the Wakandans were made hidden due to an oath of Captain America where he gets to take a small sliver of vibranium that will make his future shield. Due to this continuity and Reginald Hudlin's small retcon from this story forward, it means that Wakanda is a slight step ahead of the rest of the world. Before this retcon, Wakanda's technological advancement wasn't until T'Challa became king and used vibranium as Wakanda's main export. Now, Jonathan Hickman expanded on Hudlin's retcon even more, with Bast, who was originally Bastet, the Egyptian panther goddess, approaching ancient Wakanda a millennia ago with the heart of Amun-Ra. His heart offered to them in an attempt to give Wakanda more than the rest of the world has, which explains why Wakanda is what it is today. Now, some of the producers of the Black Panther movie have been asked this very question, and when producer Nate Moore, he told Screen Rant specifically, they're just 20 or 25 years ahead of us. Having a city built on vibranium allows them to have all these advances and have wealth beyond our wildest imaginings, and that's a big part of the movie. Now let me also, to support my argument, point out some specific uses of vibranium tech that proves that Wakanda is super more advanced than anything we know of. In the new Avengers comic books, we have seen holograms, and Wakanda holograms respond to human touch, and T'Challa can manipulate images in his hand as he speaks to a group of students. Plus, the projections stay trapped where T'Challa wants them, and they don't project onto the rest of his body or the bodies of his students the way that real-world holographic projections do. We've also seen Wakandans having floating holographic interfaces, as seen in Secret Wars #9, that respond to human touch, and they're wildly available, and they work in 3 dimensions. The Wakandans also have warships. The Wakanda military has a huge weaponized ship that can reach the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. That is more than 12,000 feet, my friend. Modern naval ships can only dive to about 4,000 feet for comparison. The Wakandans also have dive suits, which shows the Wakandan soldiers having seen diving faster, longer, and deeper with a greater air supply without less complications. Now, the average deep dive in real life is about 1,000 feet, and during this comic book, the Wakandan soldiers are shown to be working on the ocean floor. So that means that they could give even Aquaman a run for his money. The Wakandans also have antimatter bombs. They possess antimatter bombs that can destroy a planet and are capable of mass producing them in just 1 month. So Wakanda has all of this awesome tech. It means they're super advanced, but what does it really mean in the real world? Well, it means that T'Challa is one of the richest people on Earth. Wakanda and the Wakandan royal family are super wealthy. According to Time magazine, pure vibranium retails for about $10,000 per gram. This was first learned in Fantastic Four number 607. And Wakanda's vaults hold 10,000 tons of vibranium. That comes out to be $90.7 trillion worth of vibranium. Now, Tony Stark might have some fancy cars and some super suits, pepper pots, and a cool house, but T'Challa and all his vibranium means that he has more wealth than the entire GDP, gross domestic product, of the entire world. And I'm talking about the real world, not the fictional Marvel world. That's rich, my friends. This means that T'Challa is not only the wealthiest person in the entire Marvel universe, but he's richer than Batman, Bruce Wayne, as well. All right, super friends, I threw a lot of information at you about the fictional country of Wakanda, but let's break this all down so you understand it. So the citizens of Wakanda are actually probably more advanced than humans and closer to the X-Men mutants than they appear at first glance. The society was never artificially stunted due to colonization or real-world historical events, which probably puts them a couple centuries ahead of the rest of the Marvel universe. And the resource of vibranium runs underneath this entire country, and the sheer level of its market value means that the country and all of its citizens have untold wealth that allows them to run free and focus on personal development in the way that other nations aren't allowed to. So in short, Wakanda is way more advanced than we've ever thought of. It doesn't matter whether it's only 20 years or 500 years, no real-world country can come even close to matching the superiority of Wakanda. To me, it's clear that Wakanda is the utopian nation that the rest of the real world and the fictional Marvel universe should be emulating, and I kind of think that we should all move there. So let me know down in the comments whether you think Wakanda is the most advanced nation in the entire world. And while you're down there, please click subscribe. I have more thought videos, plenty of geeky reviews. I think you're gonna like some of this stuff on the channel. I'm Jason Inman, thanks for watching.